This is one of my most powerful weapons in Warframe. Not this, I don't know why I have this equipped. This right here, the golf club. I'm going to show you two different builds, one with a Riven and one without. Both should do tons of damage for you. So if you're still interested, let's start by showing new players how you can actually acquire the things for a Zaw and actually build a Zaw. To get a Zaw, you are going to go to Earth, you're going to go to Cetus. And once you're in Cetus, you want to come over here to Hawk. Now he's going to be the one that crafts your Zaws and you're going to actually get the Zaw parts from. So the first thing I'll show you real quick is forge a Zaw. Now you can't do this unless you have the parts built, but you can see right here that it's going to show you that you need a strike, a grip, and a link. And I will show you the parts that you need for my golf club that I'm currently using. Now if you go down to browse wares, now for your strike, you're going to need the crunch right here. So you're going to make sure you pick that up. And for your grip, you want to use the stung right here. And the third part you'll need is the Varjeet 2 Jai link. Now I don't know if I pronounced any of those right, but oh well. Now once you hover over these, you're going to see that you need like the Mortis Horn, the Quokka Spinal Claw, things like that. Let's go over the crunch. You need Grok Drool, Fish Scales. So all these parts can be acquired right here in the Plains of Eidolon. Now if you don't have the Varjeet 2 Jai link or any other parts unlocked, you're probably going to have to level up your standing with the Ostron. Now to do that, if you run over here to Kanzu and you go to bounties, you can actually gain standing by running these bounties. Now one thing I do want to mention is if you're trying to build any Zaw, you can actually go to Forge a Zaw. And let's go up here and let's actually build the Zaw that I was talking about. So we got the crunch. Now for the grip, we need the stung and we also need the Varjeet 2. Now, even though I don't have any of these blueprints crafted right now, if you scroll down, you can see that it actually shows us the stats that will actually happen if we craft this weapon. So you can see a crit chance of 32%, crit multiplier 2 times, status 10%, yada yada. All right, so if you're trying to build any kind of Zaw and you want to preview what it's going to look like, you can actually just throw them in here and actually see before you do it. Might save you some time. The next thing you'll need for this Zaw, this is where most of our damage is actually going to be coming from, is this arcane right here, the Exodia contagion. So it's not available currently, so you can pick it up off the Warframe market for it's like around 15 to 20 plat right now. Or if you wait for the Halloween event, Knights of Nabarus or Nabarus, whatever you want to call it, that's where I picked up mine a few years back. Now this arcane lets you, when you bullet jump and then you aim glide, if you swipe your Zaw, it's going to shoot a projectile out of it. And this is where all this damage is going to come from. Now you don't need a fully maxed arcane to be able to do quite a bit of damage. So if you only have enough plat to pick up one, that should be just fine. But of course, if you got a fully maxed one, you can get a little bit more damage out of it. Now the first build I'll show you is with the actual Riven. So you can actually compare both with Riven and without Riven, the type of damage that I'm doing. So you can see the Riven disposition is pretty high right here. So you're going to actually get quite a bit out of your actual Riven mods if you have one. I'm using Bleeding Willow as the stance, which doesn't matter because you're just going to be doing one swipe in the air. But I'm using Shocking Touch and Fever Strike to actually get a corrosive stat on here. Now you can probably change Shocking Touch over to North Wind to actually get a viral status if you really wanted to. That's up to you. But down here I've got Prime Pressure Point for just straight up melee damage. I've got Gladiator Might for crit damage. I've also got Organ Shatter for more crit damage. I've got Boreal's Contempt. Now this is a really nice mod to have because it doesn't sacrifice your actual speed. Got plus 90% melee damage, 60% damage from status effects, and reduces damage while airborne by 20%. So it's a pretty nice mod to have. I like using it instead of using Spoiled Strike, even though Spoiled Strike gives you plus 10% extra damage, but it does slow you down by 20% on your attack speed. I've got my Riven here, and I've also got Sacrificial Steel for more crit chance. Now you can max your mods out for even more damage, I just haven't done it yet. Now in conjunction with the Zaw, I like using Calervo. Since he's a melee frame, let's go ahead and show you the build that I've got currently on him. We'll go over his mods first, and then we'll go over his abilities. So first we have Steel Charge for more melee damage, of course. And up here in the X list slot, I have Aviator, because since I'm going to be in the air launching the Exodia Contagion projectile, I'm going to be in the air quite a bit of the time, so that'll help me take less damage. I've got Streamline for more efficiency, Stretch for ability range. I've got Continuity for duration. I've got Vigorous Swap, so whenever you're aim gliding and you swap out your melee, you're going to get 3 seconds of 165% damage increase. I've got Transient Fortitude for ability strength. I've got Umbral Intensify for more ability strength. I've got Prime Flow for more energy capacity, and I've got Rolling Guard for extra survivability. Now the first arcane that I have is Arcane Fury, so on critical hit, 60% chance for plus 30% melee damage to melee weapons for 18 seconds. Now if you have more of these, you can upgrade it. I unfortunately only have just the one. Now Molt Augmented, you can get this from the Zerman, but this is a really nice one to have because you can actually get more ability strength out of it. So plus 0.24% stacks up to 250 times. Now let's go over his abilities real quick. Now for his first ability, Wrathful Advance, it's really nice. Teleport to a target and you do a heavy attack. But you'll also get a brief period of increased melee critical chance. So right here, you can see with the build that we have, we'll get almost 13 seconds of a 390% increase to our melee critical chance. Right here for recompense, this is what you're going to be using to survive. You want to tap this a couple times when you got a big large group of enemies around you, and you're going to build up your overguard. You can see that my overguard cap is 19,500. When Molt Augmented kicks in, you can get a little bit above that. Our third ability, Collective Curse. Now this you can kind of use to baby nuke. The Exodia Contagion Arcane already does blast damage for a small little area, but when you use Collective Curse, you can attach it to multiple enemies and kill multiple enemies at once with it. Of course, we subsumed over his fourth ability and put Eclipse on there so we can get even more weapon damage. Damage increased 292.5%, and with Molt Augmented, that'll increase a little bit more as well. You can see I've got a couple shards on it, and if you're interested in what he's got the Amber Shard for more casting speed. I've got all three of these red shards right here for melee critical damage, so I can get even more from that. I've also got the blue shard for extra health regeneration. Like I said before, you want to jump, aim glide, swipe your weapon, and you'll see that you launched a projectile. So if you're playing as Calervo, the first thing you'll want to do is tap your second ability at a group of enemies, and we're going to pump up his overguard. That way, you're not instantly dying. Then what I usually like to do is I'll pop my third ability, to chain them all together, and then I'll activate the fourth ability, which is Eclipse. Then I'll jump in the air, aim glide, and then activate his first ability, which will also still shoot out the Exodia Contagion Arcane. So if you're running around, jump, aim glide, activate first ability, tons of damage, and you've got that melee critical chance boost kicking in as well. So right there, you can see down there at the bottom, it's still counting down from my almost 13 seconds. It does do quite a bit of damage. The reason I wanted to show you the build with the Riven is because a lot of people say without a Riven, it kind of sucks. This is the build without the Riven. So I didn't use any prime mods, and of course we didn't use the Riven, and it's more of like a budget build. The only thing on here that might be kind of hard to get is this Boreal's Contempt, so you might got to make sure that you complete the new war to be able to actually run the Narmer bounty missions within Cetus or Fortuna. It's one of those that you'll find that you can actually get like these Archon mod drops. If you don't have Boreal's Contempt, you can run something like Berserker Fury, or you can use Gladiator Vice or something else that floats your fancy, I guess. For now, we're going to use this. Of course, I've got Shocking Touch and Fever Strike on here to get that corrosive stat. Got Organ Shatter for actual crit damage. Now we're using Spoiled Strike for extra 100% damage, and it does take away attack speed, but it doesn't matter because you can only launch one projectile from the air. So you have to jump, launch it, land, and then jump again to be able to launch another one. So we got Pressure Point for extra melee damage. Then we've got Gladiator Might for extra crit damage. And then of course we've got Sacrificial Steel, which is an Umbral mod you'll get later on in the game if you haven't completed the story. But this gives us an extra 200% crit chance. And of course the Exodia Contagion Arcane. So just like before, if I was going into a mission with Calervo, I'd be activating the second ability to pump up my overguard. I've already got it maxed out. Now we're going to activate our third ability, chain them all together, activate our fourth, which is Eclipse, and then we're going to jump in the air, aim glide, and activate his first ability. So it's going to heavy attack, but since you're in the air and gliding, it's still going to activate the Exodia Contagion Arcane. So if you're running around, let's do it again. Now I didn't even chain them together, but you could chain more enemies together to kill more enemies at once. Now these probably aren't the best builds out there, but they're the ones that I use to do quite a bit of damage. So if you have any other recommendations for anybody else, you can throw them down in comments and let's help everybody out. Other than that, I'll see you guys next time.